Perhaps you've considered making a little extra money by renting out a bedroom in your home. Well, that's exactly what I've been doing for many years. This has allowed me to save significant amounts of money on my housing expenses, which I've then been able to reinvest into buying more real estate. I now have 11 homes, and over the years I've had over 50 roommates. Even today, I have 3 of the bedrooms in my home rented out right now. So if you're even the least bit curious to know how to do this for yourself, buckle up, because I'm gonna explain everything you need to know right here in this video. No marketing funnel, no nonsense, just one small price of admission, and that's to click the like button if you appreciate the information I'm sharing. Let's get into it.
Subscribe.
One of the ways I started, well, the way I started, was I bought a house, but we thought, hey, if we can't afford the payment, we'll rent out rooms. Isn't that potentially a way that people can start house hacking just to be able to leverage up their wealth maybe quicker than they could otherwise?
Yes, it is. And I did the same thing. I did it on my own. I borrowed $10,000 and I was able to buy a house, and I rented every room out. I lived in the basement, but I, over time, built a lot of equity up in that.
Let's consider, why rent bedrooms at all? Well, actually, many successful people started building their wealth with real estate by renting out rooms, such as Kevin O'Leary. Renting bedrooms in your home is a great way to turn your home into a cash-producing machine. This can help you save money each month that you can then invest. And it reduces the overall risk of home ownership. This is because it makes the mortgage easier to pay. When I first bought real estate, I went looking for a property that had as many bedrooms in it as I could find. This is because I knew I was going to house hack. My goal was to try and live as close to free as possible. Maybe you've heard a duplex is the best way to house hack. So you could be wondering, why rent bedrooms instead of just buying a duplex? You know, live in one side and rent out the other side? And I think that's a great idea. But there are a couple of drawbacks. Firstly, it's harder to buy a duplex than a single-family home. One reason for this is because there are simply less duplexes on the market. Also, if you're going to house hack, you have to live in one side, so dealing with an eviction or trying to find a duplex with at least one side vacant can be really tricky. Also, the loan can be more complicated for a duplex. And all of this not to mention that your chances of making enough rent from one tenant in a duplex to cover the whole mortgage is pretty slim. Of course, you could look for a triplex or a fourplex to make a little more rent, but these are even more tricky than a duplex for the aforementioned reasons. With that in mind, my first property was a 5-bedroom home. This allowed me to live in one of the bedrooms and rent out the other 4. So let's talk about a few things that you should know and do before you rush out and try to get a tenant to rent a room in your home. Firstly, do not assume that your life is going to be the same. Sharing your home with someone is just that. It's sharing. You have to be ready for the little changes that come with inviting someone into your home. Whether it's using some of your kitchen space when you need it, or them not being as quiet as you're used to, there is no way someone can move into your home without being noticed, at least to a small degree. With that said though, you should think about what your expectations will be. Do you prefer that they only do laundry up until 9 p.m.? Are they able to store things anywhere in the home beyond just their bedroom? You have to get all of this figured out so that you can manage expectations with any new tenants. Here are a few things that I do. I provide one shelf in the pantry that's just for their food and kitchen stuff. I also share and provide all of the things needed in the kitchen, such as dishes, pots and pans, etc. I don't allow cooking after 9 p.m. I don't share food unless it's verbalized that there's something specific I intend to share. Anything they own must stay in their bedroom. There is no additional storage beyond the one pantry shelf and their bedroom, aside from a few things in the bathroom, which that's okay. They cannot park in my garage or in my driveway. Street parking only. Okay, there's a lot more stuff along these lines, but I'm just giving you a sample of some of the types of things you might want to be thinking about. Also, consider if their room will be furnished or not. I recommend an empty room. I find that most people have enough stuff that they won't need a furnished room. And now you might be wondering, well, what about utilities? I used to try and divide up the bills, but it was a lot of work and it just took way too much time. It also made it more unpredictable for the tenants. So now I just charge one flat rate monthly that includes all the power, sewer, gas, etc. I also include free Wi-Fi access. One more thing that I think is super important is to get cameras inside your home. Cameras help to keep people honest. A lot of the little annoying issues you might run into when you're sharing your home with several people tend to just go away when you have cameras in the common areas. Tenants are less likely to borrow things without asking or to ignore some of the rules if they know cameras are keeping an eye on them. But don't try to hide the cameras. Let your tenants know about the cameras before they move in. Most people will appreciate the extra focus on security throughout your home. Here's something. always have a spare key to your tenant's bedroom. Your tenant will lock themselves out of their room. And when that happens, you'll be happy to have a spare key. I remember I made this mistake once with a tenant, and I ended up messing up the door trying to break into their bedroom. All right, with all of that out of the way, let's talk about your contract. Yes, you should have a rental contract. I don't care if you're allowing someone you know and trust to move in, it's always better for everyone's sake to have a contract in place. This helps to manage expectations and puts an agreement in place that can be used to handle any issues that might arise. It's just a smart thing to do. If you don't have a contract to use, an easy way to get one is to look for your local rental association in your state or county. They will have a regular real estate contract that you can download. I get it, it's not specifically for renting a bedroom, but it will have all of the same language that you need. You will only have to make a few minor changes, and you will want to be specific about the fact that a room is being rented and not your whole house. You will also want to specifically spell out all other house and living situation agreements. And don't forget to mention the cameras in the contract. Also, you will need to know how much you're going to charge. If you don't know what the going rate is to rent a room in your area, I suggest looking around for similar rooms that are also renting in your area and see what they are charging. You can look on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, etc. If you look through enough listings, you should get a good idea of what you should be charging. Also, download a rental application. This is different from the contract. We are going to be using the application as part of our process, and I'll explain more on that in just a bit. Just know that the application does 3 things. 1, it will help you get the information you need in order to do a credit and background check. 2, it will help you get to know more about your potential tenant and their current situation, both financial and otherwise. 3, and here's the clincher, there should be a space for them to put down the best emergency contact information. This can be used later if your tenant disappears and you need help finding them. For example, if they leave without paying rent. Now there's a good little landlord trick. Whew. All right, we're moving fast. Now I'm gonna walk you through the process of finding a great tenant, which is 90% of the battle here. First, you will need to place an ad online. There are many places to advertise. I like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, but I'll let you decide where to place the ad. However, I wanna give you a few tips about the ad. Firstly, make it searchable, meaning keep the title something folks would actually search for. Bedroom for rent in new home, $800 per month, laundry, and private bathroom included. That's not a bad title. However, seeking professional to become tenant and move into my home, nobody's gonna search for that, okay? So keep it searchable. In the body of your ad, do the same. Throw up a few high quality photos and put specific details in bullet format that are useful to your potential tenants. You can save some of their time also by answering common questions right in the ad. Are pets allowed? What is the deposit? Which, by the way, I recommend at least 1 month's rent as an initial deposit. Now here's something very important. Are you ready? You cannot say something like,
looking for professional female.
sex, age, color, religion, disability, national origin, and even family status are protected classes. This means if you're not giving everyone equal opportunity, guess what? You're discriminating, and you don't want to be that person who discriminates. If you don't think a family of 7 is the right fit for a small bedroom in your home, I get it. But don't worry, I'm going to walk you through how to choose the best fit candidate while also giving everyone an equal opportunity. Just remember, as far as the ad goes, I suggest leaving all of that kind of stuff out of your ad and stick to communicating the details of your property. There are potentially some heavy fines if you ignore this advice. Now let's get back to the process of how to select a great tenant, which, as I said, really is 90% of having a good experience when house hacking. Getting the right tenant matters. So let's do this. Put your ad out there and instruct people to call you. No emails, no text messages. Lots of scammers are trying to pull nonsense through email and text. You don't want that, trust me. If a person wants to live in your home with you, they should not be afraid to pick up the telephone and speak with you. This is actually the first step in qualifying a great tenant. Can they follow the instructions and call you? From this point on, we are going to work this like a flow chart, pushing people into one of 2 buckets. Either yes, we want to move forward with an individual, or no, we want to get rid of them. There are only 2 options here, folks. Okay, so when they call you, introduce yourself and let them know the room is still available. Then ask them if they have any specific questions for you. One of 2 things almost always happens here. Either they ask when they can come see the home, or they ask something else. If they start by asking something else, it's probably a question that gives you some specific information about them. For example,
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you will accept a tenant with 4 dogs.
now you know they have 4 dogs. Here's the catch. No matter what they ask, never say no. I don't care what they ask you. Never say no. What you're going to do if you know they are already in the get rid of them bucket is to say, I always give everyone a fair chance. Let me take down your email and I will send you an application. Take their email, send them the application, and never respond to them again. This keeps you from ever accidentally being accused of discrimination. It also allows you to organically get rid of people without making anyone upset. Now I get it, I'm a big fan of being upfront with people, but you don't want to set yourself up for a very uncomfortable conversation, or even worse, an argument. This is the professional way to filter people out. It's the same thing that happens when you're applying for a job or anything else. You have to decide if you actually send the application or not. It's up to you. Either way, it's the same outcome, they go away peacefully. Now back to the second thing people might say when you ask if they have any questions, and that is, when can I come see the place? Never set up a time for them to come see your home at this point in the conversation. You need to ask some follow-up questions first. Have a little conversation with them. When they ask you this, respond by saying, right, of course we can look into arranging that, but do you mind if I ask you a few questions first? And then ask them things like, what's your living situation right now and why are you looking to move? You will be surprised what people will share with you. I once had a person tell me he was moving because he got angry and hit his landlord with a bat. Yeah, not good. Also, you can ask anything that seems important to you, like, do you smoke? Etc. However, and I bring this up again, do not ask anything about the protected classes. If they offer up some of that info on their own, that's okay. Remember, your goal at this point is just to see if they sound crazy or not. You don't want a crazy person in your home. If the conversation is going well and you're building some rapport, then you can invite them to come meet you in person at a convenient time. Remind them to bring identification and a pay stub with them. You'll want to review their ID and confirm that their income is at least 3 times the monthly rent. However, if after talking to them you're just not feeling it, go back to our strategy and ask for their email. Let them know the next step is that you will send them an application, and bye-bye. Okay, when the time comes for you to meet the applicant, firstly, take note of their punctuality. Were they late? If so, did they call you in advance to respect your time? If they are late for this, do you think that your rent will be paid on time? Once they arrive, if possible, try to meet them outside. The goal is to catch a peek at their car. Is it dirty? Is there a lot of clutter on the inside of their car? Does the car look well cared for? These are all clues. Introduce yourself and thank them for coming and invite them in. Once they are inside, let them know that you are going to start by giving them a tour of the home, and then after you will sit down for a quick chat. This gives them a format and lets them know what to expect. Proceed to give them a tour of your home, show them the bedroom for rent and the common shared areas. Then you can sit together and have a little chat. During the chat, your goal is to get a sense of the individual and see if they are a good fit for your household. The main thing I am looking for is if the individual can make good decisions. Any red flags in this regard, and they're out. Some questions I ask are, remind me why you're looking to move again? I already asked them this on the phone, but I asked them again to see if their answer matches the first story. How long would you be staying if you were to move in? Tell me about a time you were having some trouble with your landlord, and how did you handle it? If I were to offer the place to you, do you have all the funds for move-in available right now? And if not, when? You get the idea. You can ask some things of this nature and you might get into a natural conversation, which is good. If you don't feel the person is a good fit, again, back to our strategy. Ask for their email address, let them know the next step is that you will be sending out an application in their email, thank them for coming, and never respond again. Suppose on the other hand that after your conversation you really like the candidate, then you need to strike while the iron is hot. If you allow this person to leave at this point, they are going to check out another place, and that other landlord will probably like them for the same reasons you do, and the other landlord will lock it in with them before you can. So this is a sensitive moment. Closing the deal is the hardest part of the whole thing. People naturally like to try for things when it's a challenge, but as soon as it's offered, psychologically they value it less. And this is no different. The second you say, oh yeah, it's yours if you want it, this scares some people and they might think about weighing their options. If you want to lock it in, you're going to need to finesse this a little bit and you need to make it happen right now. And here's how to do it. Let them know that you like them and you feel good about this. Tell them that there are other people who are interested and you believe it will rent very soon. But let them know that you like them enough that you won't need to wait or consider the other options. This does two things. It reminds them that they aren't your only opportunity and gives them a sense of scarcity. But it also plays to their ego and gives them a little burst of dopamine. This is when you strike. Be ready with clear next steps. Say, if you feel good about this, the next step is to fill out the application. Have them fill out the application on the spot. Make sure you have a pen ready. After they fill out the application, make sure you have their email address. Use it to send the credit and background check invite. You will need a service for this. I use the one offered by Cozy.co. I also like My Smart Move by TransUnion. But there are a lot of services that will allow you to send credit and background checks to potential tenants. I don't care which one you use, but have one ready. Now, this is the key. Try to get the tenant to check their email and pay for the background check on the spot. You don't pay it, make them pay it. And they don't pay you directly, they pay through the website or through the service. If they do this, they are serious about moving in, and now they have a little skin in the game. This means they will likely come back after you are finished doing your due diligence. Tell them you will be in touch soon and let them know they should get their down payment and first month's rent check ready. You should think it over for at least one night. Look over everything and review the credit and background check. Check to see if they have any recent evictions, look for a criminal history, check their credit score. I like to approve tenants with at least a score of 600. And if you still feel good about it in 24 hours, give them a call and have them come sign the contract and exchange the money for the keys to the house. Ta-da! You now have a great tenant and they can start moving in their stuff. Follow these steps and you should have no problem earning some extra money by renting out bedrooms in your home. You will find that renting out rooms is a great way to help people and also a truly enjoyable experience. If you found any value in this video, don't forget to hit the like button and consider subscribing to this channel for more content. Until next time, you guys are awesome.